when I was trying to get my mind right. You got what I'm saying? You got what I'm saying? I like that. Like that's what I'm trying to find. Because you being a bigger guy, yeah. Like you got that made, somebody can I need something like that. Yeah, because like when I go try to buy stuff that's already made, it be cut little. Yeah. Party then. Let me ask you a question. Do you ever bring
You unplug it. No. I'm saying we're coming to the mic. So we do it live. You live? She just did it. Queen put it on there? She just did it. Queen, yeah, she must have done it. Yeah. How long have we been live? 5 minutes. Okay.
Working it in over there. Testing, 1, 2.
We're outside. Testing, 1, 2, family. Peace and power. Peace and power. Amani 9 Google family. Peace and power. Amani 9 Google. Welcome to the Temple of New African Thought. All right, brother Boo.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon to everyone that's live streaming.
That sound right.
We want to help welcome you this afternoon to the Temple of New African Thought, commonly known as TNAP. As as usual, we're going to begin with libation.
Dr. Wayne,
Someone like to assist?
the music might have been loud too.
Is the music like?
It's not the music, not the rap. And I got it coming in the head, and I got everything on.
Brother Kirk, no, brother massage therapy.
What you say?
You said your brother resident massage.
I got the cameras on though. See, the cameras are off.
The purpose of
It ain't going to the
libation in
mic.
our African Standard tradition,
That's cool.
which is a constant reminder and a reaffirmation and a forever conscious connection to and with our ancestors,
That might be it.
on whose back we all of this time draw our wisdom, understanding, knowledge, spirituality, balance, strength, resilience, etc. across the board. And assisted by Brother Parrish, who will graciously feed our plant food of life, which is water. Now we call upon our ancestors of old, of the past, and when we call on these, each time when we finish, we want to say Ashe.
Ashe.
Malcolm X. Ashe.
Ashe. Carter G. Woodson.
Ashe. Ashe. Ashe.
Miles Davis.
Ashe. 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 Carter G. Woodson. Ashe.
Chris Wilson.
Ashe.
Frederick Douglass.
Ashe. Ashe.
Benjamin Banneker.
Ashe.
Ashe.
Ashe. Ashe.
Equiano.
Ashe. Ashe. Okay. Next, we want to call on those ancestors that have a more personal relationship and connection to us, be they family, in this time and age, those that we can kind of let focus being in this day and time, more or less. Sheikh Kabil Abdul-Manan. Ashe.
Ashe. Nina.
Ashe. Ashe.
Harvey and Pauline Johnson.
Ashe. Ashe.
Ashe.
Ashe.
Nina Leonard White.
Grandpa Stokes.
Ashe. Ashe. Janet Jenkins. Ashe.
Grandma
Wesley White.
Grandma.
Ashe.
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 Franklin White.
Ashe.
Robert White.
Ashe.
Yvonne Atkinson.
Ashe. And next, we want to put in the universe for blessings and balance and truth and honor within those yet unborn. Put it out there now so that prayerfully we calling on our ancestors, so we're also employing the divine to instill those values and principles in the yet unborn. A minute or so. Ashe. Thank you very much. Next, we come to the portion where anyone has anything that they'd like to say, share, a poem, words, music, a cappella, any experience.
I would like to do a drum call.
Brother Farr, the man of many talents. He's also dressing appropriately today. Go ahead, proceed, Brother Farr. Thank you, brother.
Ashe.
Ashe. Thank you, my brother. Thank you. Would anyone else like to share? All this talent in here?
Okay, let's do some sounds. We started some sounds earlier, so we can do.
Thank you, Papa. Son.
Okay, thank you, sir. So we can do some. Okay. All right, so we're gonna do some healing sounds. I'm trying to figure out what I am. First of all, let's do a little stretching. And you do it from our chin. All right. So this one is called holding the heavens up. Bring your hands up. When you get to your chin, turn it over and push up. Okay? Let me get myself loose. All right, so grab energy from the earth, bring it up. When you get to your chin, turn it, push up. That's called holding the heavens up. So this is how you do it. Let your arms down. Then you breathe in. Then you breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Now breathe out. Last one. Breathe in. Breathe out. And hands go down. We're going to do one for your lungs. Put your hands on your lungs. Smile at your lungs. Let your lungs know you appreciate what you're doing for them. And the sound for the lungs is. 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 And the sound for the lungs is Everybody see it together? Okay, this is how we're gonna do it. Rub them like this. Then we're gonna go here and push out. Breathe in. Push out. Last one. Breathe out. And relax. We're gonna do one for the liver. The liver is on this side here. Rub it. Smile to it. Give it energy. And then we're gonna open the liver side up a little bit. So we're gonna turn really this way. On this side here. And then open the liver up some. And then we're gonna go like this. Got that? That's the liver sound. Let's come back. Ready? Breathe in. One more time. And bring it down and relax. Our stomach is here. Spleen is here. Do one for the spleen and the stomach. They work together. So it goes. Got that? HU. Good job. Y'all got some vocals. All right, now we're gonna do one for the heart. That's the last one for the heart, and it goes of course like ready? Rub your heart, smile at it. Thank you for doing properly what it's supposed to be. Pumping the blood, bringing it all through your body, giving you life. Now we go. One more time. The last one, we gonna hold it as long as we can. And good job. Now, hug yourself, put a big smile on your face, and love yourself and love the world. Ashe.
Ashe.
Thank you, Baba Asal. Mom Faluki, you have anything you'd like to share? Not at this time. Okay, thank you.
I have a request. I wanted to do a round of affirmations. You know how the same way we do libations, we call out ancestors' names. We call out different affirmations, and I'll start it out. Let's go for a couple rounds. I'm strong.
I'm strong.
You call out your own. You just keep them going. I'm powerful.
I'm determined.
I'm magnificent.
I'm courageous.
I'm black-tastic.
I'm consistent.
I'm healthy.
I'm loving.
I'm dedicated.
I'm sure.
I'm energy.
I'm intentional.
I'm proactive.
I'm positive.
I'm present.
I'm seeking balance.
I'm balanced.
I'm powerful.
I'm grateful.
I'm peaceful.
Baba. Baba. I got something.
That's fair. That's fair.
You hungry?
I'm on the face like a friend. So you have never been hungry, then you're like,
You're a child, you can't be
you might have had an appetite.
when you're a child, you don't got no nerves.
Testing.
Hold on.
Testing. We good. So I'm gonna put that back in those there the next time. I think it might just because it's on the floor. Yeah. So yeah, can't have no nerves, but we got all of that.
Yeah, I had something I'd like to say. I was just finalizing. Your brother is now in the Be More Flawless magazine as a writer. So that's the second magazine I'm in. The first one is the the National Black Union newspaper. The other thing is that
Congratulations.
my sixth grandchild, seventh overall, was born this past Monday. So I'm grateful for that as well. And I'm just happy to be amongst my brothers, and especially amongst the NGS6. I share it. NGS6.
Specificity is essential. And, yeah. We're gonna be. I know you can say it again, Mama, for the people. It's on.
I said that is a reiteration of what you sent us this morning about being more specific in our communication. And I really have to force myself because I have so many texts coming at me from different organizations that I get overwhelmed sometimes. I don't know about anybody else, but yeah. But I do understand the significance.
Thank you, Mom. Yeah. So Brother Boo Jamal asked if I want him to bring me on. He's always nervous to bring me on, so I'll bring myself on. We're gonna learn how to bring each other on one day.
Can I introduce you?
Go ahead. But
all right, with no further ado.
Hold up. You gotta give affirmations to everybody you bring up.
Who's next? You?
I'm next. Okay. You gotta give
all right
ones.
So with no further ado, Dr. Asar Winkler.
All right. Los gonna drop us a little serenade. Gotta do. That's all like that. Gotta do. Peace and power, family. Amani Na Nguvu, which means peace and power, peace and strength. So today, Sunday, September the 14th, 2025, there's been a lot going on in the world. You know what I mean? And everyone has an opinion. You know, I was at a Pan-African town hall. Let me ask my elders for permission to speak. All right. I say be careful what you grant. So, well, you know, thank y'all. I was at a town hall a few weeks ago, and the brother said, everyone doesn't have an opinion. In other words, not that everyone doesn't have an internal opinion. And I think people often may not be able to listen to what he really is saying, because he says that everybody doesn't have an opinion. And that could be real easy to kind of dismiss, like, what is he talking about? You know, but I think it's important and essential that whenever someone says something, try to really understand the deeper essence of what they're attempting to articulate versus the trigger. I don't have an opinion. you know. And from my interpretation of what he meant is that all opinions aren't equal. You know, and sometimes I think we believe that all opinions are equal. And, you know, that's just something for us to wrestle with. So Neely Fuller says, if you do not understand white supremacy, aka racism, what it is and how it works, everything else that you think you understand will only confuse you. Dr. Welsing, many people attribute that to her. She's echoed it and even made it even more popular. Both rest in power to both of those ancestors. Also, I like to lift up specifically today those like Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Fred Hampton, Stephen Biko, and so on. Again, Nelly Fuller says, if you don't understand white supremacy, what it is and how it works, everything else you think you understand will only confuse you. Today's topic, circle discussion, I actually have pulled together two words because we have an Ngia fellowship in the Mayat circle. So I'm now calling it the Ngia Mayat circle. So today's topic is the illusion of free speech. Speech as violence. So the illusion of free speech. I put a post out the other day on Facebook, Instagram, I guess TikTok or whatever. I don't know where, I know the first two at least. And I don't have the whole thing here actually. But in essence, what I said, let me just see if I can find it really quickly. I said, let me see if I can find it because it's probably better stated complete. Oh, I know where it's at. So you all probably saw it. I said, never forget words, including political opinion, can be a form of assault and violence. We know this in intimate partner relationships, but it is just as true on the collective level. Language can wound, distort truth, and create the conditions for harm and oppression. And it does. So again, the illusion of free speech, speech as violence. So again, I said, we're told that free speech is sacred. It's something that is a value in this system that we all have. But free speech is an illusion because not all speech carries the same consequences. Do you really, this is a question, do you really have free speech at your job? At school? Do you really have free speech in institutions where you've been employed or you're a member of? Do you really have free speech? What y'all say?
No.
Microphone though.
No, I don't believe, because especially if you agree to represent a larger organization or a company, you have to kind of work in parallel with the views of the company or be unbiased. But it can definitely harm your job security, I'd say.
So what you're saying is that free speech is like when this gentleman just got murdered, right? and certain people spoke out against, they lost their job. So that's what you mean? Kirk,
Yeah, but
just
not
people actually
just
got fired from their jobs because they expressed their opinion one way or another pertaining to that incident. So that's exactly what you're saying,
but not just limited to that. I think as a general rule, you have to understand that you will represent the company you work for. But I don't necessarily think that is fair, especially if it's outside of the workplace. But if you are making yourself public and visible in that, and you do have a difference of opinion or a polarizing opinion, or even just an opinion, you gotta be aware of, like, every action has a reaction. So, on one hand, I think that if somebody has an opinion, and they're willing to express it outwardly, openly, and in public, you should stand on it. I don't know that it should take away your job on either side, because I think that becomes a slippery slope.
So you're saying you don't believe that you should lose your job as a result of your speech?
If you're a bank teller and you're behind the plexi, and you're telling people your opinion, that's one thing. But if you're at home and you're on Facebook, that's a completely different thing. And I think that it's a slippery slope, because then it's a matter of who deems what free speech should look like.
Good question.
I like to answer that too. I think it depends on the severity of the topic that's kind of being expressed. Because we say that we have, for example, people who discriminate in key positions, like whether it be a doctor or someone who can actually affect us, our finances. They could have an opinion about you that could be detrimental to you. They can hate you, and they can just do things to personally harm you, but you would never know unless they express that to someone, and then that information somehow gets leaked. So like right now, a lot of people are getting exposed for saying racist things, and then when people investigate what they do, they find out that, oh, this person's a professor or a teacher at this school, or like you don't know what they're teaching your kid. They could be miseducating your kid too. So just things on that level, I think it's like it depends on the opinion and what the topic is, if that makes any sense. Like it's levels to it. It is a slippery slope.
So I pose the question again. There's NG is both and, right? That's one side, whatever side that may be. And it's not so much a side I'm fighting for, but I'm fighting for freedom of speech overall. Because if someone doesn't express their views, or you don't necessarily know their views, they still have those views. They still have those biases. They could be a bigot, and they could have any belief, right? So they still have that in them, regardless. Me personally, I'd rather know. I'd rather know what I'm walking into.
Me too.
On the opposite end, someone on the opposite side of the line can say, I don't like what they're saying in here, right? So I think it's a slippery slope in a sense, because it's all perspective.
Yeah, I think so. Perspective is the word, and what I was going at with this, we all know the saying, everybody has one. So once again, it's a matter of perspective. And
what's a matter of perspective?
Opinions and people's thoughts.
Mhm.
But people thought if they're used to what I'm trying to think of victimize. What's the word?
That's right. Victimize people.
People, something like that. That's totally wrong.
Yeah,
You see what I'm saying?
that's totally wrong.
Because
to-
no, wait a minute. All right. What I'm saying is that because this could cause somebody to get hurt, die, etc. If you just got opinion about what you have opinion on, as long as it don't hurt nobody, that's just a good opinion. Anybody can have that. But if it's going to put harm in people's ways or anybody way, any kind of way, that's not freedom of speech to me.
No, but what you just said, opinion. So with the person that's putting out that negative vibe, right? To
Mhm.
them, it's their opinion. We're saying that negative vibe could be harmful. To us, it's harmful. So it's still a matter of opinion. And you cannot get around that opinion because that personal group is going to hold to that.
So let's look at this. So when we say freedom of speech, we have to frame that.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, people gonna say what they're gonna say. I think that's what we're saying, right? But what does freedom of speech mean?
Say whatever you want to say.
Be able to express yourself.
Be able to express yourself.
Yeah. You got to know how the whole freedom of speech amendment number 1 kind of works anyway. Like basically, if you're saying something insinuatory, like if you're causing a riot, or you can't, the example they use is you can't go in a building and say fire just because. So, but like Brother Boo said, opinions are opinions. And the real thing is like even what Brother Burr was saying along those lines, like both ends is like you gotta understand that even with somebody going into your school and teaching your kids something, if it's their opinion, it's still if it's not insinuatory, it's really still that free speech because no one can deem what is the right information. Like you said, people giving them misinformation. So to some people, even though it's misinformation, it's right information to them. You know what I'm saying? So using the guy who was no longer with us, he went around the universities and stuff talking to people, and to him, that was correct information. Everything else was false information. So he still had his opinion on that stuff, whether we disagree with it or not. But the issue is when you get insinuatory with it, when you start to throw stuff at people that hurt or make assumptions or make references that actually hurt people. And I'm not even talking about emotionally. I'm talking about physical harm to people, talking about mental harm to people, things like that. So that's how I look at it.
But in their opinion, those that are doing that harm, to them, it's the right thing to do because they're doing it, and those that are doing it are in agreement with that mindset.
So what are we saying?
Once again, it's a matter of opinion and free speech.
What are you saying, Boo, with all that? What are you saying?
Free speech is free speech, I think, is contingent on the environment and the atmosphere that you're in at any given time.
So do you think that, I'm asking this is for everybody else, because so first and foremost, let me read this. So freedom of speech, let's kind of frame this. Freedom of speech is the principle of individuals have the right to express their opinions, ideas, and beliefs without undue interference, censorship, or punishment from the government. Let's go down. It's written in law. The exact wording is in law is Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press or right of the people peacefully to assemble and to petition the government for redress of grievances. Peacefully. Help me out, y'all. Peacefully to assemble and to petition the government for the redress of grievances. Peacefully.
Yes.
So, all right, I know we're gonna go around, but so the argument is not whether or not it's if people shouldn't, but I think we have to like understand, even when we're saying, I think that what Brother Los is saying, like, what is that? And was it peaceful? I mean, we're gonna go direct towards it. Was the rhetoric that person spoke peaceful?
I don't think so.
So I think it's important to keep in mind How can I say? I want to be very thoughtful of my words.
Just be freedom of speech, bro.
Well, you know,
talk.
I
Just
think
talk.
that is a part of freedom of
we
speech.
wanna hear what you
Being
got.
thoughtful of your words should be a part of it, right?
Pardon?
Being thoughtful of your word should be a part of it, because to organize peacefully and to go into a auditorium and have a dialogue where you present an opinion and people are allowed to disagree with your opinion, and then there's a back and forth dialogue. I think in certain ways it's insightful because it allows you to get a snapshot of what people's psyche is. And you also be aware that one person saying it doesn't mean that that's just that one person. Maybe a lot of people feel that way. And just because you don't hear it, then that's almost more dangerous because it's under the surface.
So let me say this, because I want to move, right? Thank you.
But I had one more point. If
You're moving slow, bro. Come on.
But I do want to be thoughtful. I want to be thoughtful. I
All
think
right.
being thoughtful is extremely important. On the opposite end, a question that I have is, does it trigger you? And it could trigger you, but the opposite opinion could trigger someone else. So
okay, go ahead.
You got to keep in mind who deems what is right or wrong.
There you go.
That is the bigger question. It's like, okay, you're triggered by it. Everybody's sensitive to something, but who deems what's right or wrong? Because in the same way you can censor one side, you can censor the other side.
Okay. Talk more now, since you switched it, since you came up.
I said less so I could just say what that.
No, I want to hear you say all that in one sentence.
Freedom of speech is important because it's important to hear other people's dialogue as long as it's peaceful. Keep it in mind that you will trigger somebody with any opinion, but if you censor one side, the same could be done to the other side.
All right, let's talk. Thank you for that. So let's go back. Dr. Neely Fuller, well, Baba Neely Fuller says, if you don't understand white supremacy, what it is and how it works, everything else that you think you understand will only confuse you. And we didn't understand like the depth of that statement, right? We can keep saying that because the reality is, I'm going to argue, you can argue back, that there's no, like every speech is not peaceful and every speech is not equal. People can say what they want to say, but some speech harms people and some speech harms communities. All speech is not equal. To say that Trump's speech is equal as mine is a delusion. It is an illusion. He has the power to hurt countries, people, the world. That person who ended up there's a difference between freedom of speech and freedom of consequence as well.
That's true.
Because you have freedom of speech to say what you want to say at your job. Let's go back. You can. But what is the consequence?
That's true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got the right to say some things. There are some things also that you're not, that ain't free to say in America. Let's keep that a buck.
That's true.
But let's also understand who, like you say, Brother Fur, determines what is peaceful.
Yeah.
Who determines what is peaceful and what is harmful? So if the oppressor determines what is peaceful, and he always, or she, or whatever, the community, the collective, the boogeyman, whatever this system is, has the ability to tell you what is peaceful and what is not, and what is oppressive and what is not, what the data says without looking at the context and the why and all those type of things, it's unequivocal to me that person hurt people. And it's unequivocal to me that he and others reap the result of their words. Now, because every day I know I am not an entitled white American that every day I'm out here in the streets and what we say may reap benefits. It does. It's not a time when I say, oh, well, you put this on YouTube. You don't think that the colleges and universities can be like, okay, we might have to get some, we might not bring him back.
Yep.
You know, so it's always a consequence. I know there's a consequence. See, the gaslighters of the society will act as if there's no consequences on others, whereas they want to talk about they don't even want to talk about the consequence of the speech. And the inflammatory, disguised racism that was all in these people's speech. In fact, much of this thing about empathy has been brought up, saying that people don't have empathy. I'm sorry, I'm going off my notes, but they say people don't have empathy. And the fact that the same person you saying to have empathy for said empathy is a new age phenomenon, something made up. Because that person didn't have empathy. And I understand why some have empathy for this person on a human level, but I also understand why some don't on a human level. And notice I said both on a human level. Because people are hurting. And people have been harmed. And indirectly, you cannot tell me what I know gaslighting on a clinical level. And I know gaslighting on a societal level. And the gaslighting of those people who speak about Black people indirectly and sometimes directly as being inferior is blatant. The fact that you pull out SAT scores that don't take into consideration history. The fact that you can take any measurement, and we know measurements don't measure, they're not equally measuring intelligence. And intelligence is cultural. Intelligence is ecological. Intelligence, it differentiates. You're trying to prove your point that Black people on a bell curve are subhuman without saying it.
It's measuring circumstance.
Go ahead, brother. I'm sorry, brother.
It's measuring circumstance.
Measuring circumstance.
That's what it is. But I want to go back to what you said, and you brought some good points up. First of all, universal law is going to catch up with. Universal law rules all. So those people making those, it's going to catch up with them. People call it karma. But the law that we go by in America gives them the power to do what they do and say what they say and degrade people, because the law has always been behind them, because those people are the ones who create the laws. So you mentioned about consequence. In their mind, they can, whatever they want to say, there is no consequence for it because they make up the laws. They can change it when they want to. If you think about our leaders of the past, in the recent past, who actually was talking to build up the people and bring the people out of bondage and bring people out of the situation they're in. When they spoke, they knew it was going to be opposing opinion. They knew that those same people wouldn't like them. So guess what they did? If you think about it, they knew the consequence. They spoke of the consequences. Martin Luther King whole thing was he went to the mountaintop, so he's seen the consequences. Malcolm X talked about the consequences of being this type of person and speaking out. That didn't make it bad. That just went against what the people who created the laws, the people who created the system, hold themselves to. So that was some good points that you made. Like I was thinking about when you said it, like that's the reason why this person who is no longer with us could say those things, and the people can get behind it. And then they ask us to, or other, I'm saying us because me, for empathy. Why would you have empathy for someone who never empathized? For nothing. He didn't even empathize for his own people. He just talked. And it was whatever it was to build up what he had. And what he had behind him was the law that they created. Nothing spiritual or nothing. It's the law that they created. And the last point I'm making is you said that these people have, I can't remember what you said, but a lot of these people have this feeling that they can say this stuff and feel certain about it. It's actually their religious thing. It's how they be brought up even in their religion.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah. So real quick, then we'll come back. So just kind of transition a bit. So the illusions of free speech. Conservatives, such as this person, justifies casualties as a price of freedom. And this person and others like this person, who I've done a episode on Black Box with Sister Queen, already spoke about how they're very rigid and black and white in their way of seeing the world. They lack empathy. They see things in a very mechanical sense. They're very cold because they are protective of what they believe is their God-given right and their superior status. They know how to clean it up a bit, but it's not no new tricks. So again, the very last minutes of this person's life was speaking about the very thing that took them out. The idea that you can say that lives, for example, casualties are a cost of freedom. So it's true. I believe that. I do. It is for all of us, including those of us who are fighting for our freedom. Those of us who are not of the majority culture in this society. We have casualties every day in our streets, and nobody ain't talking about them. Nobody talking about the political prisoners. I mean, those of us are talking about it, but we're not talking about Mumia going blind right now in prison. We're not talking about the many people that fought for our freedom who became casualties. So that's why I lift up. No matter, even if the person was the other end of the gun with somebody look like us, it's still a result of this system. That's why I lift up Martin Luther King. Is it clear? The same person said Martin Luther King does not deserve no holiday, none of that thing. And who did he say deserved it more? Peniel Joseph or something? Say it again. He's not a hero. And so, because they say that our problems, black problems, are cultural problems. And in fact, more than cultural problems, I'm not saying we can't get some things together, but that totally excludes how the culture, and they don't want to go there. How the culture, then they want to show you how Asians the Asians went through this. Asians didn't go what we went through, not on this land. So it is idiotic. Like he's utilizing his bully pulpit to make people look weak. So here I go. Derek Bell says interest convergence. He talks about interest convergence. In other words, he said speech only is free when it aligns with the power. Trump versus Kaepernick. He can say anything out of his mouth. Did Kaepernick have, no matter what your thoughts about Kaepernick is, was there a consequence? Was he able to express? You literally took that man's livelihood. That's not violence? Now, yeah. Huh?
No one wondered about his kids and his family. You understand what I'm saying? Same thing they want us to have empathy for.
And that's just a symbol of what happens on that grand stage, but that happens to us every day.
Yeah.
It keeps us in order. It controls what we can say. And those who have less power have to be more brave to express their political views and opinions. Because they will more likely lose their jobs. Mm-hmm. And I get it. the idea that now they're playing like nothing, racism didn't exist until it started happening to them? What? Like, think about it. Racism does not exist in many conservative talking points, but until it happened to them. So how is something happening to you that you said didn't exist in the first place? So DEI, so whenever you turn a table, they never want to really deal with that. Go ahead, brother.
Those people are consummate victims. We have something to stand on. We've been victimized, but we try to fight through that victimization. They aren't victimized, and they create the victimization so that you won't fight. That's what it feels like. It feels like they create a victim status so that they can take your power away of fighting. So now they have this kind of fight that they're not fighting for anything.
They gaslight you because they take your true pain and then they act like they're the victim. And they act like that didn't happen to you. None of that happened to you, but then they take the same things that you're pointing out and then point it back at you. This is reverse racism. How do we have reverse racism and racism doesn't exist? Brother, so I'm gonna turn it back over to Brother Fur. But the reflection prompt I want to put out here is, when have you seen the same words carry very different consequences depending on who said them? Or you, you ready?
Yeah.
Or you can tie in whatever you got over there.
Just as a note, let me just start by saying I don't actually disagree with you.
You can though,
but I don't
freedom
disagree
of speech.
with you. But the thing that I think is important to note is the slippery slope, because I think it's important that we create platforms and opportunities to speak our truth to power, with the understanding that there are consequences also, but like with boldness and bravery to say the things necessary to say and speak the voice, speak your way, speak what's necessary to say what's necessary to say, or what you deem necessary, with the understanding that there are real consequences. I think that is extremely important. And I think that it's important to focus more on our truths than, this is a great conversation, but if we spent too much time talking about what the other does, then it's almost like it distracts from the path. It's like, it's more important to focus on what we need to do than like what is being. Well, it's important to mention what's being done, but it's also more important to like lead the right direction. And then I did have one other note. You said those who have less power have more to lose. I think those who have more power have more to lose. And that's probably why people who have influence and power or money tend to not say things, because
I think you're losing on point though. So let's look at that. Okay. So let's break everything down you said.
Okay.
So first point, I appreciate it. Let's go with the last one. It's not about material. It's not about material. That's part of the oppression.
Understood.
Part of the oppression is that you have the material to oppress. You have what it is saying. You can say the same thing. Let me get an example again. Trump can say the same thing that I say, and if you saying that if I say something, it is equal to Trump is saying something, there's a delusion there. There's an illusion there. So Trump says something about the Black community, it will harm us. And it has. If I say something about the white community, what would it do?
That's a good point.
Say it again. That's all around what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So the thing is, that's one. Let's go to your other point. You had another point.
Speaking your truth to lead.
So, okay, let's go to this piece about we need to build our own stuff. I think we don't really realize it yet. When we talk about building platforms, do you realize that they control?
Oh, in fact.
You can build a YouTube channel on their stuff. And then they tell you what makes it. He said murder today, and I'm not sure if they won't flag us. So what I'm saying is when we keep buying into this idea that we are the problem. We need to build. We need to do this. We have examples that even when we tried it, they burned it down.
That's a fact too.
So what I'm saying is that is why we talked in the first week in our rite of passage, we talked about essentialness of history. Because we and I get it. I've been there. I understand. We want to see us do better. But we have to understand that this is a real war. And that's why I said in my message, it is important that brothers show up and we be essential, that we be vigilant and precaution. And this is not just because of this. This is always. This is not you show up here and it's a good time. This is a war that we are in. And that's why when we talk casual stuff and why communication is important, how are we ever going to do something when we can't hold each other accountable?
Yeah.
See, Pete, we want to live so freely without any order, any structure, any responsibility or accountability, but you don't gain power that way. And you have to, and it's Mama remember I need to speak about it. Let's even change the word. She calls it African sovereignty, Black sovereignty, meaning that we rule. And what is that going to take? Now, we can't talk about that. And what is that going to take? And how long is that going to take? And when are the conditions going to be right for that? And the reality is, his story shows that major shifts don't change until major events bring them about.
And you gotta be.
But we got to be ready. Oh, is that what you about to say?
Yep. I said you
Go
gotta
ahead.
be ready. You gotta be willing to accept those things that happens, that comes along with that. But you have to be assertive. You have to be, ready for that type of thing. That's exactly what I was gonna say. I don't know.
No, that's what I was going to say. That's why you be like, well, why are you so serious? Because it's serious.
It is serious.
It's serious. You have to, and you can't be doing it by yourself because your children are required.
What did the first chapter of the book of Carter Wilson's book?
Carter G. Woodson?
Carter G. Wilson's book say about twisting our minds up to believe that the things that we do, we're so quick to criticize, be critical of ourselves, or look at something that we're doing, and, oh, it can't work, or this is what happened. But you heard this week, right after these same events, that the other side, well, I'm not even gonna talk about just the conservative, I'll say fascist type of people. What they said is that we are at war. Now, why when we say we are at war, it's gonna be something crazy going on. But we gotta accept the consequence. Yeah, we are at war. We can't soothe that out and say it because we are willing to say, okay, we're at war, and this is the consequences of being at war. These are the repercussions of being at war. When Jesse Waters on Fox said we are at war, they're not looking for consequences. They're using what they have in their mind as to be the all-powerful, that no consequences will come to them. But the minute they're faced with those consequences, they walk that back. Now they're going to find another way to victimize us, make us the bad guy. They declared war. Nobody over here said, we didn't say we was at war with Charlie Kirk. We at war with the system itself, period. Mm-hmm. But now they're at war with us because we attack their ideology.
Mm-hmm. Power gives you the ability to define what violence is. Power gives you the ability to define whatever that reality is, but in this case, violence. It gets to tell you who thugs are. You got the thugs of the world telling you who thugs are. The thugs of the world, and we all know it. They can write they can sign something to say drop bombs on this country, drop bombs on that country. And then they want to turn around and say that that the radicals are the violent ones when they're the ones talking about take guns off the streets. They're the one. Now, if you get one, now they want to. I mean, even if this guy became radicalized, all his training was in. Even let's say he was a left. I know that's a big thing going on right now. The person who sniped him. Well, we don't know. We know that his family is conservative, right? And they said that his views may have changed. And if his views have changed, all that training came from his conservative upbringing. And if at all, let's keep it a buck. If at all, and I'm not a conspiracy guy, if he's the one who did it.
Yeah.
But this country is nasty.
Yeah.
And I know we all try to get very comfortable in it, including myself. Like, oh, well, no, this country is violent. Yeah. I was just thinking today, like, man, you know what? I hear about people talking about they want to return home or get a place in Africa or something like that. I know it's stuff everywhere, but this place is, as Dr. Marimbani said, it ain't gonna happen here. Because it's so embedded in the system. And it's embedded in us. And we have so much empathy. And I really understand why. Because I say trauma impacts you in several ways, in two extreme ways. It can make you overly empathetic or underly empathetic.
Yeah.
I can empathize. I don't want to see no man get their neck blown up, but I understand why.
Yeah. Yeah.
I understand why people are hurt both ways. But the reality is, I know when I talk, there's a consequence to it.
Facts.
So I'm not giving nobody no pass that I don't get.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not working, Mom.
So how would you classify that as mental illness? The behavior of the majority of white people, whether it's openly or concealed. What kind of mental illness is that?
Say it again, Mom.
How would you classify that level of mental illness that they display?
Well, Dr. Bobby Wright says he calls it the West as having psychopathic what do you call it? Psychopathic. In other words, he called it psychopathy on a collective societal level, and it is.
Yeah.
Because you don't have feeling. I get it, because they are afraid. They are trying. Look, they believe they have bought in. Look, I'm saying they victims too. Just to keep it a buck. They just victims that with power.
Created by their own prison.
Yeah. They were victims when they came here. To me, they are trauma victims of their own countries, their own people, and they come here and traumatize others. They created, so yeah, they are trauma victims. So when people have not processed their trauma, again, there's two ways things happen, but in a major way, people cut off from their humanity. And in a sense, what they do, they have no empathy for you. They can't see it. Even if they think they see it. That happens on an individual level where people have been hurt so much that they compartmentalize and they really can't empathize with your hurt, your feeling, your pain. They don't want to hear history. They just want to look at data. That's the thing. They want to look at, well, the data says you're dumb. They don't want to look at why. Then if you give them a why, then they want to go, well, look at the Asians and look at this. You're arguing that you do not want to take into account that what you're even equating is not even equal, and that you can't talk about small groups of people in the way that and it's a trick. Statistics is a trick, because if you talked about black people as being inferior, how about, okay, let's look at it like this. How about take the top tier of black folks and compare them against the top tier of these other folks? Or how about take the African immigrants or the Caribbean immigrants and then compare them against other immigrants that they are black too. But no, what you want to do is play games with your statistics. You see what I'm saying? Because all samples aren't equal. And what I mean by samples is that which you are pulling out the data from, and from the groups of people. If you take a whole country of people who've been enslaved and you sprinkle in some people who are, who've been enslaved in the Caribbean, and then you bring in a few people from the island, from Africa, and then you don't take and segment and parse these things out. Look, Africans are at the top of many things. I'm talking about who migrate here because their experience is different.
You talking about it's on?
Yes.
Yeah. You talking about the same people that took their children to see people get hung.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And took the children to see that, to make them stronger and say that, like, we are not even human. That's the same people we talk about. They're traumatized with that.
Go ahead, Mike.
I was about to say we've been played on opposite sides of the spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny because I was talking to my mom's about this yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a debate. We was watching a movie, and I mean, I'm not going to explain the whole movie, but the black boy, it was a black dude and a white dude. And they was like on this race, and this is like pretty much like one of the things, like the last person's left stand, and it's the person that wins. So all of these people, they were dying for real.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, look, this black boy going to give up his life for this white dude.
Mm.
And he did. She was like, black people are just so empathetic. I said, I feel like we are, but I also feel like it's because that's what's been beaten into us from like slavery. I do believe that we are empathetic just naturally, but I do believe the effects of slavery did play a major role in that. It's like, all right, we keep these people subservient, turning the other cheek, so that when crap hits the fan, they'll be less likely to jump down our throats as if we, and what am I trying to say? If they were to do this to another group of people, like, for example, when they went over to Vietnam and they thought they just want to do whatever, and those people weren't standing for it. And I'm not saying that we stood for anything. I mean, we've been fighting for years. What I'm saying, there's a lot of people that would turn the other cheek because, either religious beliefs or because of what they've been taught, like, you got to love thy neighbor, all that stuff.
Yeah.
When on the other end of the spectrum, they've been lied to. They've been led to believe that they shouldn't suffer any consequence for what they do because they believe that they're above everybody else. When in reality, the people that are in power don't look at them any different than they look at anybody else. But they've been fed this lie. So I honestly believe that's why they continue to go around and move the way they move, because they're, how you say, they're kind of like pawns on the chessboard. It's like, okay, we're going to keep them like doing the things that we don't really want to do unless we absolutely have to. It's like pretty much like, you keep the people fighting amongst themselves, and it's like, they're not really going to understand, like, we both have the same enemy. But it's like we both fighting on opposite ends of the spectrum, pretty much.
You said what Malcolm said a long time ago. We're all in the same boat, but you want to row in a different direction.
Right.
Thank y'all for that. So, you about to say something? So let's switch gears a little bit. I want to take it down a little bit more granular. And I appreciate that. I'm not sure. Mama, did we answer your question? Okay. Well, how does it look on a?
Oh yeah.
Psychopathy.
Psychopathy on the collective level.
Collective psychopathy. Dr. Bobby Wright, I can't think of it on the top of my head right now. I'm a little, but what does he call it? Psychopathic. He has a whole disorder. But yeah, and I used to struggle with that. But no, looking at it, like Dr. Wells and people struggle with that. I struggle with because these are theories and things, right? And you look at like she's saying they're afraid, and they are. And it's not like it's more complex what people think. It might be even sometimes on a subconscious level and sometimes on a very conscious level. And these religious zealots, they definitely will even articulate to you that they don't want you to wipe them out.
Because her piece was always, they're afraid of genetic annihilation.
Absolutely.
And then when they look globally around the world, they see most of the natural resources are with people who are melanated. So they really feel the need to conquer, kill or whatever, or I shouldn't have said that word, or whatever they have to do to acquire and control those. But it still goes back to what you said, that
Psychopathy.
that
Collective
word.
psychopathy. That's what we're gonna call it in jail.
Okay, psychopathy.
Collective psychopathy.
Yes. Or and narcissism is a part of that, and all it's a personality disorder on a collective level. All of the things. And we got the men on one side, the conservatives, like these people, and then we got the borderline personality type on the left, on the other side, the white women. I'm just going to say, look, but none of them mean us, because the thing about the white women, they kind of like a borderline person. They have borderline people have a lot of empathy. They really do, but they really don't. They really do, but they really don't. Because they feel so much pain, they can feel everybody else's pain. But the reality is that little child in them, that hurt, that pain is inside of them. When they had that pain, they can't keep out nobody else. They just know that they're just afraid of, so a lot of white women have a lot of empathy and liberal and all this and all that, but they don't, they don't get out of here free. They might not put a gun to your head, but they surely rock you to sleep slowly.
And their children.
And they will look out for their sons, right?
Exactly.
Daddy turned them in. I bet you mommy wouldn't turn them in.
Right. You talking about the same people that gave a word to a group of people that tried to escape from slavery, and they gave it a disease?
Yeah.
Right? That's who you talking about.
Drapetomania.
What?
The same people that diagnosed Africans who were enslaved, who sought freedom by escaping, as having drapetomania. And then it don't just change. Like we don't think that us being enslaved was not that long ago.
No.
What that word mean?
I can't. It's like for those who like they're crazy. There's a psychological disorder assigned to slaves or enslaved Africans who sought freedom. So it had all types of diagnostic criteria. But it's just saying that something's wrong with them for wanting that. Right. So Harriet Tubman will be diagnosed as having drapetomania times how many times? So she real crazy. And then not to even stop there, to understand even up into the 50s and the Black Power movements, they were diagnosing us as having schizophrenia, those who were fighting back for our people. They were diagnosing us as having schizophrenia because this militant idea is psychotic, actually putting us in those institutions and housing us away. So what I'm saying is, when you don't know history, you're confused. And we think we know when we don't study. Because we feel, and it feel right. And I want to feel with my heart, and it's good. I want you to as well. But when you start looking at history, this stuff is undeniable, and it's not to get stuck there. Because I don't want us in anger and rage all day and every day, but I don't want us in sleep and serenity and all bliss and peace like ain't nothing going on either. Because look, I'm peaceful. I'm at peace. I want us to be able to see the whole picture. For me, when I look at this, I diagnose our condition is, and our trauma that we have as African people in this country is not having the whole story. Not just us, but I'm talking about us now. Not having the whole story. And on a collective level, we look at bits and pieces. Some of us are so look at the bits and pieces of the trauma, and we can't even see anything white before we break down. We can't look at white sugar and it don't break us down. And then some of us, we look at everything white as being pious and supreme, which is the other side of it. You know what I mean? So, but the problem is trauma has a different impact on different people. And again, in each extreme direction is problematic. My yacht is to be balanced and to be able to pull all these pieces together and still be whole. Because if you don't see the whole picture, the fragmented parts of the picture will rule you. Yes, I'll stay there.
Yeah. I think this is just something that just popped in my head, and maybe it's definitely debatable, but I think that the same people we're talking about, I believe that one of their issues is that they believe that, start with us as Black people, Africans, want to be like them, but that's the farthest from the truth. And they go around all around the world, just like you said, and go to different cultures and create this illusion, and then their attack on you is, well, you just want to be like us, and that's no one ever. Even in the civil rights movement, we never said we wanted to be like them. We just want to do our thing. We just want to be not denigrated. Like, we want to have opportunities and stuff, but to them, that's being like them. So they give themselves the almighty, this almighty status. But that's what hurts them as well. Because guess what? They're realizing that nobody really wants to be like them. Around the world, nobody really wants to be like them. And I think that's what's hurting. But that's why they're at war, like they said, so hard, because the narrative has definitely changing, and that those people that claim to be in power, I don't give them the power, but the ones that claim to be in power, that's their fear. Like they're losing the attraction of the, I hate to use this word, but like the feeble-minded people, the people who can't just say, they just bow down or bend to the, well, it's gonna be like it is. That's how it is. But I don't see it that way. And like I said, when we look at it, we got to understand that it's consequences with the way that we think, the way that we are thinking, and the way that people are waking up. It's consequences with that. And when I say consequence, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying it's a reaction to it. I mean, let me say that. I won't say it's a reaction to it that we just got to be reiterated. We got to be ready for it. We got to be prepared for it.
All right, Brother Fur.
So,
and Dugu Fur.
Let me mention, I firmly believe we are at war. I just want that to be clear. But I feel like there are groups of people who are preparing in a way that they feel like it's inevitable. And that's not just speech. And I'm trying to be thoughtful, so you can use your imagination. And I think it's important to prepare also.
Absolutely. And that's real talk. So, I mean, you have to protect yourselves. You know what I mean? If we act as if we don't really have to protect ourselves, then we're deluding ourselves. So let's go into, pardon? Yeah.
But it's different when you're protecting yourself just to react. So like I play chess, when you're reacting, that's one thing. But when you're really preparing, no worries. So, I just wanted to.
So some people call it reacting versus responding.
No. That's not what I was saying. When you were saying that we need to prepare for the war. I mean, I honestly believe we've been in war since we got brought over here.
Yeah, absolutely.
But when I said like we've been doing that for a long time, and you said it's like we can't just sit like in this almost like lackadaisical kind of state. We actually need to prepare for what's going on. It's like I feel like for a long time we haven't really been preparing for anything. It's like we just been kind of trying to skate by.
Because the war is on your mind.
Yeah.
It tells you that this is harmless. It tells you that this level of violence is not violence. It's free speech.
But to me that doesn't make sense because like you said, like if you know history, you know history. Even if we don't talk about like civil rights and before,
right?
Even if we just look at the 90s, like the riots in LA just wasn't nothing to sneeze at. You know what I mean? Like, and that's the only one that I can think of on top of my head. But there were many different instances in the 90s and like 2000s.
But we
even
gotta.
like the 2010s.
It's the frame though.
It's very physical as well.
The difference is not the physicality of it's the frame. The frame itself, like people don't frame. Like for example, people just thought black people just was drug addicts, and we still think that. We think that our parents was some of us who parents took drugs and things of that nature. We think that our parents, we don't see them as victims of the war. We see them as just being lazy black people, the things that they taught us about them. Just like the same guy said that if you look at homelessness, he says that, look, you keep saying it's a system. If you look at it, most of it is mental health and also addictions. Now, that statistically, that might be some truth, but that does not show causality. And most of us don't understand science, and that's part of the issue. If we understand science and statistics and all that type of thing, we understand that what he's saying is BS. Because to say that they take drugs and because they are having mental disorders, is that what's causing homelessness? What test did you use? That'd be the question if you understood. What did you utilize to determine that is the cause? He can't do that. So that is him inferring in whatever position supports his inhumanity. He's inhumane. So let's go here. So it says the power. Let's break it down to the power and control will. As a person who actually worked with intimate partners, violence victims, and those who are they call perpetrators, I like to look at it this way. I say we know abuse isn't just physical. The power and control will that is used in many groups shows that how abusers maintain dominance, and these same tactics operate at the social and political level. This is what I suggest. This is NG again, y'all. So one tactic is intimidation. This is on an individual level, and that is called what? Abuse. When you hear it online, somehow we give it a pass. Our president can intimidate us all around the year. Direct intimidating. If you're gonna have to pay for this, but you don't call that abuse, because they get to determine what is abusive, what is violent. It's called domestic violence. It's called domestic violence. And the one tactic is intimidation. So intimidation, police riots and gear, military, military displays, emotional abuse, another tactic, stereotypes, humiliation of black communities. You did it, you're responsible. None of that never happened. Slavery was so long ago. But did we ever deal with it? Isolation, incarceration. You determine who is incarcerated for what and how, and we understand that we are more likely to be incarcerated at higher levels for certain offenses even. And I also spoke about isolation is also when they were putting your radicals in psych wards. Segregation is isolation. Cutting off resources is isolation. So let's go to another. Minimizing, denying, blaming. It's not that bad. On an individual, it's not that bad. How does that feel when somebody tell you it ain't that bad? That's being done to us collectively every day.
And the funny thing about it, I'm a YouTuber. I like looking at YouTube. I see Spanish people coming on there and saying, "Wow, y'all really was telling the truth. We had no idea." You know what I'm saying? Like, because until it happened to you, it's not happening.
Absolutely. That's a fact. And even us, because we don't know. I forgot which one of the mamas came from. What was it? Chicago came down. She started schools and all that type of thing. I forgot. I always get them mixed up a little bit. Not Mary McLeod, but who was it? Not fat. Who was the one who had the nice old hair? I forgot. Nonetheless, she didn't know until she went to the South, and some people got killed, and she became more radical. And then she built schools and all that type of thing. I forgot her name. I can't think of it right now. I'll mix the mamas up. But so nonetheless, minimizing, denying, and blaming. It's not that bad. Slavery was long ago. Collective individual. Using children, criminalizing youth, separating families. Using children is used on the individual level as what we call domestic violence. What did your father say? What did your mother say? Well, all that type of thing. But the same game happens on higher levels. When we talk about COINTELPRO and how that was it the CIA or the FBI? It's supposed to be the FBI, but was it the CIA?
Yeah.
Because you're not supposed to be doing things in the States, but nonetheless they were there, right? Yeah. But the thing is, COINTELPRO, right? Privilege. This is another one. And this comes from liberal frameworks. Privilege. White entitlement to define freedom. Let's talk about that. We know, as it pertains to this power structure, no matter if we got one face up there, and I'm telling you, we don't even listen to Dr. King as much as we try to lift him up. Dr. King says that we tokenize people. Mm-hmm. And don't utilize him as a token. I tell people, don't utilize me as no damn token. I'm talking about me. Don't use me as no, you didn't know. I know too many people that were as brilliant, if not more brilliant, that self-destructed because of this system. And those who are so brilliant sometimes can't even cope in this system. Uh-huh. And that's why we have struggles within these groups. Because it's a lot on us every day. And to act, it's not even historical, it's now. As Dr. Mirabani talks about, the Mayafa didn't end, the Mayafa continues. As Dr. Joy DeGruy speaks about post-traumatic slave syndrome, she doesn't say post-traumatic slave syndrome. She uses the word syndrome because syndrome means that it continues. It's not something that happened in the past. It's both and. So the war is constant. You can take a person out of and the thing about healing from trauma, it's very dangerous to heal from trauma if you're still in the environment. Because that's like telling a dear sister or brother who's in a domestic violence situation to start healing and closing her eyes and just leaving and not use her or his instincts. But we have to do our best to seek refuge. We have to do our best to lean on one another. Economic abuse, shall I say more? That's the same thing we was talking about earlier. Predatory lending, wage gaps, redlining. Who controls the resources? Yeah. You can't beat nobody at the game who control the resources. You gotta look. Let's keep it about. You want to have to take the resources. Yeah. That's you cannot come in here in this place called TNAT and then tell me and I control all the rules and you tell me and you gotta work within this system and you have no power, no say, no nothing, and then somehow you expect to meet and be as equal as I am. Do y'all follow what I'm trying to say? Because I control all the rules, every rule, but I want you to get where I am, but I control all the rules. Every rule, you can't talk. You have no seat at the table. I won't even take nothing you say into consideration. But how? No, I'm saying you can't go out of here and do it either. Because my boy on that. You know what I'm saying? So it's that type of thing. I'm just bringing it to these more granular examples because we lose context. So again, another coercion and threats. Coercion and threats, voter suppression, threats of deportation, all types of things. So, which part of power and control, of the power and control wheel, do you see most clearly in our society today? That's the question. What part of the power and control wheel, these different ways of controlling people, do you see most prevalent in our society today? Go ahead and put your mic up.
I think one of the most prevalent is probably like the use of social media.
Mm-hmm. What would that fall under?
It depends on the pose. I'm thinking more like emotional.
Emotional? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, because I typically stay out of like those circles in particular, but it's a lot of people that like these days. I mean, I think like the terminology we call rage baiting. It's just like people just put stuff up there just because they know that they'll get like a certain reaction out of it.
What do you call it? Rage bait or rage
baiting? Rage bait. Right. So, for example, like you was talking about this individual that that lost his life, right? Sometimes you'll have people that, for example, like they'll make posts about it and they'll try to shame like black folks or whoever because of the reaction that they had to it. And they'll start trying to, like you said, like gaslight and play like these weird kind of games, like trying to kind of, and then also trying to like discredit like the things that we've been through and why we may have this reaction to this particular instance, not understanding that we've seen this many times before. We've lost many people to this, like kind of like I would say kind of in a very similar way, but they were fighting for different things. You know what I mean? So they'll kind of use these things and try to spin them around to get like an emotional reaction out of black folks or whoever the group of people is. But I'm talking about black people right now. So that's like the main thing that came to my mind. Was
so I think,
social media.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it can be forms of intimidation, forms of isolation. I think social media is a real world. And they'll say, I think I came across something today that said, people say, oh, social media is not real. It's not a real world. I think we need to stop that.
Yeah, let me say something.
Yeah,
it's a real place.
I think even before what we might consider the physical aspect of whatever the psychological warfare that's going on, which is coupled with the propaganda piece. And that's how they come in. 9 times out of 10, it's the propaganda piece. But even if we're united front, if they come in and divide you, they've done that with the propaganda, psychological warfare. And a brother told me this a few months ago, and he said, let's stop calling no food in our communities food desert and call it food apartheid. Stop food calling apartheid. Where we don't have food in our community, don't call it food desert or food apartheid. Ashe.
Yeah, Ashe.
I was going to add. Let me turn it up.
Oh. Yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead. They can hear you online. It's fine.
Okay, cool. I was going back and forth because I'm not really 100% sure about this one, but I was going to say economics. But what kind of like deterred me from following through with that is that a lot of people getting cut off, not even just us anymore, but like the folks do. For example, like with the farmers, like they're having an issue getting money from the government because the government's cutting them off. But the black farmers never even had the option to get the same amount of funding that they got. You know what I'm saying? Doing over the tariffs.
So why did it stop you from saying it though? You just said it.
Well, because they're getting cut off now. Like this is
who's getting cut off?
Some of these white farmers.
They always been cut off too. They say if they got the cold, we got the flu. This is not a white people exempt from oppression. This is just that black people have been more oppressed.
Yeah.
And sometimes I think we can look at that. Is it even more oppressed? Because they just as idiotic and lost and simple, like but they oppress. Is power is few people who actually hold the power. They call it privilege. I mean, I don't even like the word, but white people are oppressed in this country as well.
I feel that.
The ignorance is they don't even know it.
There was something recently that I had found out about. I don't want to sound kind of ignorant because I've seen it once, but some of the farmers that are losing their land, they're getting bought out by companies that are like American owned. It's like they kind of finessed them, like they kind of like drained out their resources. Did they starve them out just because they want to take the land? I'm just trying to sum it up.
But yeah.
So like I understand what you're saying because like they're getting finessed and they're getting their emotions played on the same way they play on our emotions, but because they look adjacent to the people doing it, their guard is down. So they feel like, oh well, they're not gonna do that to me. The whole time they getting them too.
And of course, there's always nuance. There's always people who do know that they're being oppressed. They understand class is a problem. They understand all these different things. Sometimes they deny racism. Sometimes they also agree with racism. But the reality is that most people in this country are oppressed. That's why you can't. That's why this country is not a place for human beings.
Yeah. This guy was in the airport, and a white guy, and he was getting deported out, taken out because he was saying some things. And his words were, "I've been treated like a black person."
Oh yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? So he know how we are being treated all this time. They know that thing. You know what I'm saying? And they use different words, like when they use words like what thugs. You know what I'm saying? The little slants they show. It's urban. Right.
I want to mention what I think is one of the most egregious things I've ever seen this year, which was how POTUS, not to say a name, no flagging or anything, but hired in Elon and in a fail swoop within like that removed thousands of people's jobs and livelihood, which has devastated and affected so many households. And it was just kind of done like in a nonchalant manner. And not just that, but, and then, somebody's going to argue possibly that, well, other people were incorporated. Well, the disparity is already there where most of those who had those jobs, not only like okay, I don't have to really explain this here, but I want to explain it in context. You still had to have the degree. You still had to be qualified. You still had to do the work to get the job in the first place. They just also happen to fall under this other umbrella. And sometimes I don't even know if the person who got the job knew that they were being hired under that umbrella. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. If they look around the office and they're like, oh, well, I'm the only one. Maybe they did. But they were still qualified. They still applied. They still did what they needed to do. They got the job. They might be the breadwinner. Whatever the situation may be, in a fell swoop within a week. And then it just almost isn't even spoken about anymore. Like it's mind blowing to me how many lives were hurt by that action. With DEI specifically, with the DEI removal, and not just in government, but then all the companies that did the same. Meta, Google. Well, I don't want to say Google. I don't know if Google or not, but I definitely know Meta. But point is, all the companies that said, "Oh, well, we don't have to do that anymore. Well, we're gonna fire all ours also," as if it's just didn't even matter.
And the reality is they didn't do anything in the first place. Those people, the targets and the and those people who adopted these DEI policies didn't show any great statistical increase in black people in those positions. And DEI is much more of a white thing than it has ever been a black thing.
I think, in fact, they benefited more. Like if you think of Target,
Mhm.
them carrying more African American products and showing more Afrocentric type of events, supporting it, I think it actually brought more attention to them. Like it actually helped them, because the products could be where they can be wherever. You can sell them at a convention or at an art show, whatever, like a show or something. But I think it helped Target more than that. That's why it was weird when they stopped doing it and try to make it another way.
And that's separating, like, so for one example, the workforce aspect to now the products. Now the products, and even that, that never benefited us either, though. It benefited some of us. And to benefit a few of us is not to benefit us. And that's one of the illusions that we have. Because the thing doesn't trickle down. And in fact, it controls those who it does benefit.
Just like
I'm sorry, one more thing.
I'm sorry.
Like one of my wife's favorites on the online crying, talking about don't boycott Target because her products are there. What's her name? Tabitha Brown. I mean, it just shows you how we are controlled by these things.
But just like that, like I think you did respond to my social media post about, I was out the other morning after the whole incident happened with this guy, and Trump called for flags to be raised at half staff. Right. And I went to like get a salad that morning, and I looked up and I was like, I saw the guy from Walmart pulling the flag down, and then I looked over at Home Depot was the flag down. So I actually went. Well, you know me, I went up. I said, "Well, you putting the flag at half staff for a citizen, like a regular citizen?" He's like, "Oh yeah, well, basically he tried to snap back and was like, well, that's our prerogative." And I was like, so if one of your workers wanted to wear like a black fisting or wear that, is that their prerogative? Like you actually speaking for everybody at this place. So you're supposed to take their stuff in consideration. But that's just, again, that the power of what they believe it was like, you know what I'm saying? Like that puzzled me. It just, like, this company don't have any ties to no government or nothing. They just, Trump said, let's put the flags at half staff. Let's do it. Like, don't care about what your workers feel like or nothing. Like, they don't, a lot of them don't support that. You know what I mean? So,
So I'm going to try to move forward until we can come to a close. So Malcolm, Martin, Fred, all were for peace, but were killed. Martin, Malcolm, and Fred spoke about peace, but were murdered. Again, I don't care. Thank you. About even who it looked like on the other end of that gun. We know that they have a play in these things, and it's not just conspiracy, because I'm not really a conspiracy guy. Kwame Ture said radicals weaken themselves by denying violence while living under it. For 9, colonialism is violence in its natural state. Colonialism is violence in its natural state. These where we live are colonies. Freire, to exist humanly is to name the world and to change it. I would say systems don't fear violence, it fears clarity. That takes me into a powerful person my Baba saw introduced me to, Stephen Bantu Biko. And it speaks about how his speech was seen as dangerous. He led with thought, dignity, and clarity, killed in custody 1977. For thought, Black consciousness. Apartheid separates development, supports So speech can maintain domination. Biko shows us speech is never neutral. Every word is a political act. I'm saying Biko shows us that speech is never neutral. When you hear people say everything is political, sometimes it just seems like a cliche. But we have to really understand that there's some truth to everything is political, including where you shop, including who you sleep with, including where you desire to work, live, play. Intentionality is essential. Everything is political. And as radicalized as many of us can be, I still see us raising our children up to be pawns of the system. Because to be a pawn of the system in our minds is to be safe. And we can be radical, but our children cannot. Kirk dismissed empathy, yet people chastise others for not empathizing after his death. I spoke about empathy or withholding empathy being a survival mechanism and over empathizing as being a survival mechanism. My empathy is balanced with truth, not illusion. I had a reflection prompt here, but just for the sake of in closing and seeing if you have any closing words, I'll just ask you if there's any final words, takeaways, reflections, things you have to process further in less than 1 minute each person.
And the veils of the illusion continue to be dissolved. The
Say
veils of the illusion and are continuing to be
the veils,
okay,
of the illusion are continuing to be
dissolved.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
I think for me, what you brought forth with Baba Neely Fuller is to look to that through the lens of everything. And what that would have me to do is talk a lot less and observe more and be able to identify from a non-emotional point of view what is really going on. Because a lot of times, we could react instead of looking beyond that particular circumstance. Because what did he say? He said, if we don't understand racism, white supremacy, everything else will confuse us, everything.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I get out of that is talk less, look more, observe more, and identify, as opposed to reacting.
You brought up something for me. It might not have nothing to do with what you're saying, but what I will say on a granular level, narcissists will play on the heartstrings of other people, and they don't have that heart themselves, but they know you do, so they play on yours. And I'm saying that is on an individual level. They know you feel, so they throw out things for you to say you don't feel. They gaslight you because they know you care, and they will have you reacting rather than responding in an emotional sense. An emotion is essential, but it has to be balanced with the cognitive and emotion. To me, that is my thank you, Mom.
Is this thing still on? There was a lot today that I kind of agreed with, especially that last part with what you just said, because as soon as you said that, it immediately put me back to the conversation we had earlier about that person that's no longer here, that had his life taken a couple of days ago, and how that person didn't have the empathy that the people that follow him want us to have for him too. So I really unfortunately for this segment, I didn't have much to really say from the last the minute that we are supposed to elaborate on, which would elaborate on what we've obtained from this current session. But what I will say is, Sammy's brother over here, we just need to really reanalyze ourselves and check our emotions and look through the illusions and our heartstrings that are being played on for us to get off of our square and really just focus on ourselves instead of getting sidetracked, with the gaslighting that's been thrown at us. So that's all I'm saying.
Ashe. If there's no one else, I'll just close with a few words. And our task is in convincing those committed to the distortion is reclaiming speech as sacred, aligned with my eye. Our words are not illusion. Everybody say that.
Our words are not illusion.
Our words are power.
Our words are power.
Our speech is not violence.
Our speech is not violence.
Our speech is vision.
Our speech is vision.
Ashe.
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 Asheo.
Asheo.
So we're gonna say good greetings to the family online. Take care. We thank you for joining us. Please leave, like, share, subscribe. Subscribe to Black Box Radio. Subscribe to Dr. Dennis Asar Winkler on YouTube. But also just make sure you leave a comment in the thread. Blessings. So for us, Brother Parrish has something for us shortly before we all, what is it called? Disassemble. All right. Peace, Bob. All right. You gonna stand up though?
Okay. Do I have permission from
You
from my elders to speak? Okay. Okay. How can I adjust this? Please. I'm a novice at that.
No.
Yeah, we just will be on that mark.
All right. So I like to begin by reciting the oath in jail. I walk in my eye with balance, truth, and divine alignment. I rise with discipline. I heal with courage. I give my gifts to the community. Ancestors walk with me.